Our own beliefs and preferences can be stressful to us. They can be a real source of stress. But there are techniques, there are ways we can approach those beliefs and preferences that I think can help reduce the stress that they give us. And that's what I want to discuss in today's video. A practice recommended by one of the great meditation teachers of the last few decades. One of our greatest sources of stress are our own beliefs and opinions. Beliefs about our own future, beliefs about ourselves, beliefs about friends, about family, and the related preferences that go along with those beliefs. Things that we like, things that we don't like. And this is made even worse when we feel, as we often do, that we have to defend our beliefs and opinions when we're confronted by other people. This can lead to arguments and disputes, it can lead to enmity, to dislike, even to hatred. And indeed, the more that we contend with the disagreements that surround us, the disagreements with others that we may see in our daily lives, the more we tend to cling to our own position. This psychologically is known as the backfire effect. That oftentimes when we're presented with alternate evidence that is opposed to what we believe, we tend to reject that evidence out of hand. We tend to dig in our heels and simply get more entrenched in our own position. This is one of the reasons, all of these are some of the reasons, why the Buddha was very concerned with and skeptical about the ideas of beliefs, views, and opinions themselves. He often referred to them as the thicket of views. For the Buddha, it's best not to get entangled in the thicket of views, because once you do, it's hard to extricate yourself. But if we do get entangled, there are a variety of techniques we can attempt to use to get ourselves out of that tangle. One of these techniques is a technique recommended by the late meditation master Ajahn Chah from Thailand, from the Thai forest tradition. It's a technique that's similar to the technique of great doubt that we find in Zen, where it's sometimes said that with little doubt comes little enlightenment, and with great doubt comes great enlightenment. Ajahn Chah recommends that we cultivate what he terms a not sure mind. When we find ourselves entangled in the thicket of views, we reflect to ourselves, not sure. Here's what he says. Meditation is not only sitting. You must allow your mind to fully experience things, allow them to flow, and consider their nature. How should you consider them? See them as transient, imperfect, and ownerless. It's all uncertain. This is so beautiful, I really must have it. That's not a sure thing. No matter how much you like something, you should reflect that it's uncertain. So we often get stressed about our views about the future. And what can we reflect? We can reflect to ourselves that the future is uncertain, that it's not sure, that and we know this from our own past, right? That we oftentimes become obsessed with some thing that's going to happen to us in the future, which is now our past, perhaps going to the dentist or something like that. And then we go there, and it's nowhere near as bad as we anticipated. Or, oh yeah, it is unpleasant, but it's over quickly. And so we spent weeks, perhaps days, weeks, fretting about something that we would have made our lives better if we had simply thought, this future is uncertain. Maybe this will be better than I anticipate. Maybe it won't be as long or hard. Similarly, opinions about ourselves or our friends, family, uncertain. We don't really know. We don't know all the facts about friends or family or even ourselves. And so thinking of them in those terms can help us to relax, can help to reduce some of the ordinary stress that comes up around these kinds of beliefs and opinions. And similarly with our likes and dislikes. Here's what Ajahn Chah goes on to say. Some kinds of food seem so delicious, but still you should reflect that it's not a sure thing. It may seem so sure, it's so delicious, but still you must tell yourself, not sure. If you want to test out whether it's sure or not, try eating your favorite food every day. Every single day, mind you. Eventually you'll complain, this doesn't taste so good anymore. Eventually you'll think, actually I prefer that kind of food. That's not a sure thing either. You must allow things to flow. Now, I think I would, to be perfectly honest, need to be a little bit more extreme than Ajahn Chah says here to end up disliking things like coffee and chocolate, which I really do appreciate. But I can certainly see, I think we can all see that if you had coffee and chocolate literally every day, or I should say for every meal of every day, eventually you would get sick of it. As children, we often think to ourselves, or at least I remember thinking to myself, I can speak only personally, oh, it would be great to have, chocolate cake for every meal of every day. And yet we know that if we had done that, we would pretty rapidly grow sick of chocolate cake, and of course it wouldn't be good for us either. And on top of that, even if we don't overindulge in these kinds of things, we know that over time, tastes inevitably do change, our own tastes. So for example, we can look in our own past and think about not only things that we perhaps delighted in the past that we no longer do now, that we no longer have the taste for, things that we like now that we used not to like, as well as opinions that we have now that we didn't used to have. I know for my own sake that I have plenty of opinions now that I didn't have in the past, and vice versa, plenty of things I believed then that I no longer believe now. Indeed, when I look around the world, sometimes people will say, I'll say that, I don't agree with so-and-so's opinion about this, and people will, so is there anyone you do agree with? No, there's, in all honesty, there's nobody in the world that I can say I agree with completely about everything, not even myself. I mean, if I look back at my own past, I disagree with a bunch of things that I used to believe. So we have to think about our present-day beliefs in that context. That there are all kinds of things I believe now that I'm not going to believe in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. There are all kinds of things that I enjoy and like and appreciate now that I will not in 5 or 10 or 15 years. And so if we think of all of our beliefs, opinions, views, preferences in that light, it can help us to hold them with a more open hand. Now, none of this is to say that we shouldn't have beliefs and opinions and preferences. We all do. We need to. That's the only way we can live our lives. So we cannot literally give them up. What we can do, however, is to hold them more lightly, to understand that they have their uses, but that they should not be clung to, that we can hold to our beliefs, opinions, views, preferences, with a kind of mind that says, this is how things appear to me right now, but I'm not sure. I have a not sure mind, if you like, in Ajahn Chah's phrasing. The Buddha talked about this very profoundly in one early sutta, where he even described the depths of the Dharma in such terms. This is known as the simile of the raft. And I did an earlier video on that very simile, and I'll leave a link to it up here on the screen if you haven't seen it. Thanks so much for watching and being a kind member if you would like to become a member, or a subscriber to the channel. And we hope to catch you in the next video. And meanwhile, all of you, be well.